I'm Joe Wallace from the floor of NAMM 2007 in Anaheim, California, and I'm with Paul Specht from Ibanez. How are you?
I'm doing just fine today. How about yourself?
Good. Now we're standing in front of an 8-string guitar. Tell me a little bit about this.
Well, it has 2 more strings than a 6-string, which is easy enough. Actually, this is something that's been inspired by bands like Meshuggah and other, heavy metal type bands who are have been using both 7 strings and 8 strings. For some years, not so much necessarily always as shred machines, but sometimes for the real severe low end, although that's a wonderful shred tool. So besides your regular 6 strings, you've got a low F sharp and a B string, so that the amount of low end that you can get out of these is incredible. Number of things that are different also, we have a EMG pickups on here that are specifically designed to handle the 8-string, because you want to make sure that you've got good even response on each string when you've got such a radical difference between the outputs between your low F sharp and your high E.
Now, for people who are used to playing a 6-string, obviously there's 2 extra strings, there's a whole bunch of different considerations, but why the extra 2 strings?
Again, you've got 2 things. One, just to be able to get to the kind of low end, heavy crunch that a lot of heavy metal players like. For some other people, the 8-string is not necessarily something new. It's not as common as the 7-string to jazz, but you can get also different chord formations that would be much more difficult on a regular 6-string. So for both rhythm and leads, 2 extra strings is, as Steve Vai once put, more is better.
Now, you mentioned that bands have kind of encouraged you to move in this direction. Was this in response to band requests for the extra string, or how did this all come about?
Well, one of the most famous of the bands using, or the one that you hear about so very often, is Meshuggah, which is a Swedish, very, very hard and deep metal band. And they had originally used our 7 strings, and they had asked us to make 8 strings for them. Now, this has gone on for some years. It's only now that we actually have. This is our first production model. We had made things for people, by request, but when you're making something this different and requiring, a whole different bridge on here, and so that has to be tooled, and also, going to somebody like EMG and saying we need the right response on these. It takes a long time before you want to put it out to the general public. You want to make sure that it's right, and that's what we've done with any of what you would call our extended range instruments. Whether you're talking about the 7 strings, which we popularized and Steve Vai back in the 1990s, and then later with Korn in the mid-90s. And now, with this 8-string now, 2007. So since between 1989 and now 2007, we've had a slow but sure evolution towards, extended range instruments. So we're always looking to go a little bit farther, and so are the people who, choose our instruments.
Now let's talk a little bit about the physics of this guitar. What does it take to make the extended range still maintain good tone and make it playable?
Well, one of the things that we use is this is done by the RG format. Our RGs originally came out in 1987. As a matter of fact, we've got 20th anniversary limited editions over there. One of the things that made these so playable was a thin, flat, very fast neck. So obviously, if you're going to take a standard guitar neck and then make it into 8 strings, you could get something that's basically almost unplayable. But if you have something like this where it's a thin, flat neck, then a person can still, certainly it's going to take some adjustment to get to that, but you're making it a lot easier for them to do so. So this is a very good format to do it. Another thing is, since people are using it for a lot of heavier rhythm crunch and also for stability, you'll notice that even though this doesn't have a locking, even though it doesn't have a tremolo, it is double locking. That's the kind, so you've got a fixed bridge so that you've got that for the sustain and the lower tones that you want, that full out crunch, but you have the stability of a locking tremolo, so it's actually a double locking fixed bridge. That's and again, retooled for 8 strings. So that's the kind of thing that you have to do, maintaining something that's thin but still strong. So that it's both playable and durable.
Any advice for somebody who wants to get into the extended range, but they don't quite know how to develop their fingers to get around the neck and make the chords work and get the speed that they want?
I don't know whether I'd say go immediately into an H string. I think that one of the things to do is probably get your feet wet with the 7 string. And the 7 strings that we make, it takes a little while to get used to the fact that all of a sudden there's just one extra string on there. But we've designed these for an easy transition, to go from that. So a lot of it just means going very slowly, but a lot of people are surprised at how quickly that they can go into an extended range, because it's a little daunting when you first look at it. But as you go on, these are designed to make the transition as easy as possible.